All right, good morning, everybody. Today's class is going to be about working with the buyer in the purchase process. So prior to this, we had the marketing class, farming on how to generate leads. Hopefully from the marketing, you generated some leads, some buyers that called you to ask you to find them a property. And then the second class after that was, or the next class after that was navigating the MLS. So now they called you, asked you to help you find a property, you're navigating the MLS, looking for properties for them. But today we're going to work on working with the buyer in the purchase process. So from what questions you ask them all the way through the acceptance. So today we are going to cover, let's see here, the intel. So what information are you going to need from the buyer to get started? Your value, tell them what you're going to do for them. What makes you valuable? Why should they work with you? The search, using the intel that you get from them for the property search. Make sure you give them the right properties, right? The right results. And then we're going to talk about the offer. What documents are you going to need to submit the offer? And finally, the acceptance. What happens after your offer gets accepted? Okay, so gathering intel. Send an email with the questions that you'll be asking during the meeting with the buyer to include the following: names and complete contact information, including direct phone number, email address. So pretty much your contact information, right? Another question, do you have a property to sell now? What has you thinking about buying right now? Have you purchased a home before? How familiar are you with the buying and selling process? Oh, there's no question mark there. Have you been pre-approved with a lender, or will you be paying cash or buying cash? What are you looking for in a real estate agent? So these are all good questions to ask them ahead of time so that when they email you back the answers, you have something to work with when you're sitting down with them. So then you schedule your buyer's consultation. And remember, during the presentation, actively take notes. It shows that you're listening, you're paying attention to what they need. Let's see. Also, you might forget some things at a later date, so it's good that you write things down. And it shows respect. And then during the presentation, read back the answers, or so if you ask them, so what are you looking for? I'm looking to live in the city of Irvine because of the schools. Oh, you like the schools. Is there anything particular you like about particular school, things like that? So you're going to show them that you're listening to them, right? I don't know why this came up afterwards, but if you're in the office meeting with them, offer them a beverage, coffee, water, whatever it is. Question one, how do you prefer to be contacted? Depending on what generation they're from, they're going to give you a different answer. There's some people that call me with anything. I'll answer. I want to talk. I want to hear a voice. Then you're going to have a different generation that says text only. I'm only going to respond to text. I'm at work all day, but I can respond via text or email me or text and email, whatever it is, right? So you don't want to call someone that said, text me. You don't want to text someone that says, call me, right? Because then you're not listening, right? So you want to know what their preferred method of communication is. Have you purchased a home before? This is going to help you understand the extent of detail, what they know, what they've gone through, right? Have you purchased a home before? Do you know the process? Do you not know the process? Are you a first-time buyer? So if they're a first-time buyer, you have to pretty much hold their hand to the whole thing. If they have experience, they've been through it, they understand what the process is. Are you working with a lender? This is going to let you know if they've been pre-approved, if they're not pre-approved. If they're not pre-approved and they're not working with a lender, you can recommend someone or a few different people that they can contact. Or if they don't have a lender, if they're not going to get a loan, are they going to buy cash with cash? So that helps you understand that. And if they are pre-approved, Ask them to send you a copy of the pre-approval letter
Can I ask a good question?
and their proof of funds. Yes.
So obviously I don't have that much of that work with the lenders yet.
Mhm.
So are there like go to the lenders in our office?
We have some loan officers here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
From Southern California funding.
got it.
Yeah.
So they're like not the conventional banks like Bank of America. They're like loan officers, right?
Good loan officers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the question is, do you currently have a home to sell? This is going to let you know what steps to take too, because in what direction you're going to lead the presentation. Because if they do have a home to sell, you have to discuss getting their home on the market before starting to submit offers. Because if you're in a situation where, well, let's start with a situation with no home to sell. You can submit offers, you're ready to go, ready to buy, ready to move in, 30-day escrow, whatever it is, right? If you have a home to sell and you submit an offer that is contingent upon the sale of your home, usually sellers are not going to take your offers serious because they're going to say, well, we have to wait until you put your house on the market and then review offers and accept an offer and then go through escrow and inspections or whatever it is. No, thank you. We don't want to go through that. But if your home's on the market, at least we can say, hey, this is contingent upon the sale of my property. It's already on the market. We already have a few offers. So forth. It just makes it look a little stronger than if it wasn't on the market. So this gives you a direction, right? It lets you know in what direction you need to take the conversation if they have a home to sell.
So what's the recommended path? Because I guess there may be so many people, homeowners, they want to sell their property 1st and then buy another one. So like there might be some time gap between their sales of their home and then moving to the another.
There's a few different ways you can handle it. You can either do a rent back, so they sell their home and rent it back for a month or 2 months or whatever it is, or they can do if they're in escrow on the sale of their home, they find another home and they close a few days away from each other, then they can remain in possession of the property for 2 or 3 days after close of escrow. Right. And then sometimes you can do magic where they both close on the same day and you get to move into the other property, right?
Gotcha.
Or back to back. Why are you buying and why now? So gain valuable insight on the reasons for buying. You want to know, are they moving because of work, because of schools, whatever the reason is you want to know, and then that's going to help you find them the perfect home, right? If they're moving because of work, they got a new job and they want to live within 10 miles from it, that alone helps you understand that you have to find them a house within 10 miles. And maybe there's certain cities that they didn't really consider, but there are some cities that are within 10 miles that, hey, we can find a home for you in the city, right? And then if it's for a particular school district, maybe they just want Irvine Unified School District, but they don't care what school, or maybe they have a specific school. So now you know you have to search for something within the school boundaries. What's your timeline for purchasing a home? Are they ready to move now? Do they want to move after the kids finish school in June or whenever it is, and in the summertime? Do they want to move, at the end of the year? This gives you an idea of if the readiness to move, right, to purchase.
Right.
Are there any worries or concerns in the back of your mind when you think about buying? And you know what? This is a big purchase, especially for first-time buyers. This is scary, right? A lot can go wrong, and ask the question and then remain silent. Let them answer. They might talk about interest rates, price declines. Hey, am I going to lose money on my home if I purchase it now? Is our prices going down? Or maybe not being able to find a property in time or something, right? And one thing with properties, the value goes up in time. I mean, sometimes it'll go down, but in time it goes back up. It's historic, so I don't think they have to worry about it. And it's timeline too. How long do you plan on living in the property? If you're going to raise your kids here, raise a family, live here for years, don't worry about it. If you want to live here for 2 or 3 years, then we might have to look at something different because, hey, if you want to sell in 2 years, if prices drop, you might lose some money, but you have to be ready for that. Right. You have to be okay with that if that happens. So you're going to have some realistic conversations with them, but historically prices go up. How familiar are you with the buying and selling process? Again, this helps you understand the experience. How has your search been going so far? So you want to determine if they've been looking for properties yet, or did they just start? Are you the first person they're talking to? Are they working with an agent? They are working with another agent. Ask them, do you have a signed contract with them, a BRBC? No? Okay. You have to sign a BRBC with me if you want to work with me.
Yeah.
Okay? And let the client do all the talking when you ask these questions, right?
Your RBC expires in 90 days?
Yes.
And so, so it's like
Yes.
always so.
Yeah. Or they can cancel, but then if they cancel it, then it cancels in 30 days. So let's say, yeah, so let's say that the BRBC was signed with another agent, and after the first week, they're not happy with them, they're not communicating, and they say, you know what, I want to cancel the contract. So now, instead of the 90 days, the buyer's only on the hook for 30 more days. And then it cancels after 30 days.
Right.
Where before it wouldn't, you would have to stay with them for the duration of the contract. Okay, so let's see. Um, let's move on here. Have you already looked at some homes? If so, how many have you seen? So this is going to let you know, have they been like going to open houses? Have other agents shown them properties? Just helps you understand what, where they are. What if we found the perfect house tomorrow? This is going to gauge their readiness. If we found the perfect house tomorrow, would you jump on it? If not, then hey, we have some time. It's not an urgent sale or purchase. So let's move on. What are your three favorite neighborhoods and why? Notice I didn't say cities, I said neighborhoods. One city. Hopefully they want to look in one city. You're going to have some buyers that want to look. We talked about this before in Lake Forest, Huntington Beach, and Corona. It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't even make sense. Right. So you want to ask them questions, right? If they tell you different cities that are way different and far away from each other, you want to know what the motivation is for each one of those cities, and then narrow it down from there. But also the three favorite neighborhoods. That way it helps you narrow down the search and not look through the whole city. What's your favorite room in the house? So this helps you learn more about the lifestyle. Um, Maybe they're looking for a house with a giant kitchen. They love to cook and entertain, and have dinners and stuff like that with family, whatever it is. Then that's going to help you when you're looking for a property. What if they like to have barbecues and have parties? You're going to want a big backyard. So things like this. They spend a lot of time in the bedroom? Hey, maybe they're a newlywed couple and they're planning on having a family. You know, you have to find them a big master bedroom. Whatever the reason is, whatever the room is, this is going to help you understand what they're looking for. How important is outdoor and garage space? Another good question, right? Some people are okay with the carport. If they're looking for a condo, they don't care. They don't have to have a garage. Some people have to have a garage. Some people don't care about having a yard because they don't want to maintain it. Some people are okay with having just a patio on the back. So these are all good questions to ask. Again, this is going to help you when searching for properties for them. Then you're also going to ask them about number of beds, baths, square footage, how many levels, one level, two levels, things like that. There are going to be some buyers that want they're looking for two story home, but they want a bedroom downstairs because they're either going to have the mother-in-law move into that bedroom, or whatever the reason they can't go up and down the stairs, or they want to use the downstairs bedroom as an office, whatever that might be. This is going to narrow your search down again, but keep in mind that when you do searches for this, you might look within the search that there's a field that says downstairs bedroom. They might not always show you the right information, so you have to look through all the listings that it comes up with. And I wouldn't use that field at all. I would just look through every listing that comes up and find the ones that have a downstairs bedroom, because agents make mistakes. The agents are the ones that input the listings into the MLS, and There's a lot of new agents, there's a lot of older agents that have been doing this for years, and that's maybe a field that they haven't had to fill out before. So keep that in mind. How long do you think you're going to live in the house that you're going to buy? Again, we talked about this before. If you're going to live here for a while, then we're going to look for your family home. If it's just like a step up home, then that's what it is, right? This also helps you with if it's like a 1 or 2 year house, so they're gonna, like a step up home, you're going to keep marketing to them, right? Because when they're ready to sell, you're going to want them to call you. If they're going to stay there for years, yeah, you want to stay in contact with them, but it's not as crucial as the person that's going to sell in 1 or 2 years. What are the three property characteristics that you must have and three that are deal breakers? This is going to help you understand again, what turns them off about a property or what they're looking for in the property. So three must-have characteristics could be, like I said, downstairs bedroom. They want 3 bathrooms at least. They want a 2-car garage. Those are probably three must-haves. And then three deal breakers could be like I have up here, that it backs to a major street. Yeah. There's a lot of traffic noise. I don't want to live there. I don't want to live next to a freeway. That's a deal breaker. I don't want a house with a pool. Pools are deal breakers. I don't want a pool. Things like that, right? So then this is also going to help you when you're doing your search, right? Make sure you eliminate those. Don't send those to them. And then what are you looking for in a real estate agent? This is going to give you an idea of their expectations, and that way you can tailor your services to what they're looking for, because everybody's looking for something different, right? They want somebody some people want somebody they can trust and that listens to them. And then there's other buyers that want someone that's analytical, and they're like, I don't know, they're looking at things. It's not a personal trust type of thing. It's more, I want the best person for the job. I don't care if you have bedside manners. I just want a great deal. I don't care how, whatever it is, right? So you have different types of personalities. So you'll know how you have to tailor your service to that person or to that client. And tell the client that the criteria is not set in stone. It's going to be changing, right? It's going to evolve. Maybe before they were looking for homes with I don't know, specific characteristics, but then they start looking at other homes. Maybe they go into open houses and they realize, oh wow, I never thought about a home with this feature in it. Maybe we should include that into our search. I really like that, right? So it's going to change. Their needs are going to change. Let them know that the process is fluid, and any changes during the process will simply help them narrow down the search. So maybe they started out with no pools, but they're okay with a jacuzzi, right? Or maybe a small pool with a bigger yard, whatever it is. So they might change their mind. Next is show your value. Present the client with the value you bring and what sets you apart from other realtors. What's going to set you apart from other realtors? What am I going to do? I'm going to search for the right home. Not just search for the right home. I'm gonna log in every single day to make sure that I'm sending you exactly what you're looking for, and not just send you a bunch of properties. Any agent can just log in, set you up, and send you all the properties, right? I'm gonna log in and I'm gonna look for specific properties every day as they come on market and send you properties that meet your criteria. So that way you know that I'm listening to what your needs are. Then you're gonna schedule and show those homes. You're gonna write up, submit, and negotiate offers. And you're going to manage the transaction yourself. All the forms, disclosures, schedule the inspections. You're going to say, I'm not going to use the transaction coordinator. I'm hands-on. I want to be involved in the deal. There's other agents that are not hands-on. They use transaction coordinators, so they're not as involved in the transaction, right? But I'm going to do that for you. Show your ability to navigate the purchase agreement. Show them how many pages the purchase agreement is, and go through it and say, look, this section talks about this, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to write it up. Even though you still haven't written up any offers, you want to show them your knowledge of the RPA. Discuss with the client how you suggest presenting an offer. So as you're going through the offer, you're saying, look, this is what we can do to make your offer look a little bit better when we're ready to submit the offer. So that way, when you're ready to submit an offer, they know exactly what's going to happen. Uh, Again, describe your method of negotiation, modifying contingency periods, just like we were talking about now, interest rate protection and contingency. The interest rate protection, how are you going to protect them if the interest rates rise? How they can get out of the contract if the interest rates go up. Protection as far as contingencies. Let them know, hey, we can cancel for any of these reasons, as long as we don't remove contingencies. Let's see, assignments, costs, things like that. So if they want to include or exclude someone from the contract at some point, that they can do that, but up to a certain time frame. Briefly touch upon each applicable item in section 3. This is, I believe this is the commissions. What you're asking for as far as commissions, for them to pay your commissions. So even though you're signing the BRBC with them, when you submit the offer, you're asking the seller to pay for the buyer's agent's commission. And then any credits if you want, any credits. Let's see. So section 3, oh, I'm sorry. That's the next page. It's not section 3. Sorry, section 3 is the purchase price, number of days of escrow, things like that. And if you look here under the loan amount, section E1 is where you're going to put in what the loan amount's going to be and then the interest rate. So this is where you're going to show them how you're going to protect them as far as the interest rate is concerned with 0 points. Let's see. This is all on this page here, but explain this to them. You know, this is like the main section of it. And in the section 3G, I believe 3 on the next page is where the commissions come up. Present and explain the buyer representation and broker compensation agreement. And let them know that an agent cannot take them out to tour properties without signing the buyer representation and broker compensation agreement. It's against the law in California. Explain your fees. They will have to pay someone, not you. So if they have to sign a BRBC, why not sign it with you, right? They're gonna have to pay someone. Explain that within the offer, they can request that the seller pay some or all of the buyer's obligated commission. So explain this to them when you're going through the RPA. Say, look, the BRBC, you're agreeing to pay me a commission, but we're going to try to negotiate that into the purchase contract so you don't have to pay me. And explain to them if they decide to pay a portion of it, then you'll be responsible for the rest. If they pay for all of it, you don't have to pay anything, right? This makes them feel a lot better. Let's see, and then the representation period cannot exceed 90 days. I think they changed this from 3 months to 90 days, and I'm not sure. That's what the update is, but it's pretty much the same thing, 3 months, 90 days. And then make sure that when you do fill out the BRBC, you check the box that says exclusive. That way they're only working with you. If you don't check this box, they can work with other agents. And they give them a copy of the BRBC after it's been signed, so they have that.
We usually do through digital signature.
If you're gonna meet with them, you could just have them sign in person.
Okay.
And then you can scan it and email it to them or take pictures and send it to them. Otherwise, you're gonna have 2 copies of it and have them sign both. Leave a copy with them, you keep a copy. So anytime you have them sign anything, you want to give them a copy of what they signed.
Got it.
Yeah, always. So in California, showing properties without a signed buyer representation and broker compensation agreement, or the BRBC, or its equivalent, can lead to a $2,500 fine and potentially jeopardize an agent's MLS access. This requirement, effective January 1st, 2025, mandates a written agreement between a buyer's agent and their client before showing properties, or at the latest, before an offer is made. Failure to comply with this rule can result in significant financial penalties and other consequences. So if they try to convince you to show them properties without having a BRBC signed, I wouldn't do it. There's still some agents out there that are doing it. And they say, well, I'll just have them sign it when we're ready to submit an offer. But what if you show them properties, they don't sign it, and then they go with somebody else? You just work for free.
Mhm.
Not to mention the potential getting a $2,500 fine
Yeah.
if someone tells on you. So keep this in mind. The necessary documentation to begin the process. So we're going to need the BRBC. We're going to need proof of funds. So as soon as they sign the BRBC, you're going to ask them for a copy of their bank statements or their investment statement or whatever it is that shows that they have money in the bank to pay their down payment. You're going to need a copy of their pre-approval letter if they are going to have a loan. If they're going to pay cash, then you want a copy of their bank statements or whatever, anything showing that they have the full amount to purchase the home. Let's see. I would not show any properties without having the above documentation. So we signed the BRBC, and then they say, okay, I'm ready to look for houses. Well, we don't know what you qualify for. You had to be pre-approved. So now that you've signed the BRBC, let's get a pre-approval. Or you can ask them to get the pre-approval before you guys meet, right? And then also, along with the pre-approval, let's see your proof of funds. So that way we know what you qualify for. And now we're confident that we find you a property, right? And then you're ready to go. Now the search. You're going to search the MLS and email and properties. You can schedule an auto email that meets the buyer's criteria, or like I said before, you can search every single day for new listings that match their criteria and send them only what matches their needs. And that's two different things. When you do an auto email, it sends them everything within a certain criteria that you fill out on the MLS form. And then if you do a search and you get the results and look through every single listing, you're only going to send them exactly what they're looking for. That's the difference. It's everything versus specific properties. Schedule the showing. So after they've narrowed down the search of homes that they want to go see, good morning. You can schedule the showings. So another approach is to narrow down the list yourself and then tell them, hey, I'm gonna take you to see these 5 properties, or let them pick which properties they want to see. You want to map out the properties, and you want to give yourself at least 15 to 30 minutes in between showings. So in this case, schedule them. Yeah, give yourself at least actually, I guess 30 minutes would be good between showings, because here's what's going to happen. I would say 30 to 45 minutes. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to schedule a showing. Let's say you schedule 5 showings. One's for 1 o'clock, one is for 1:45, right, and so forth. 1 o'clock showing, you open the lockbox, you open the door, you go through the house, open the blinds, turn on all the lights, make sure that everything's visible. The client's going to walk to the property. They're going to be there for a while. They're going to look at all the rooms, measure, wow, does my bed set fit here? Does my living room fit here? Set fit here? Let's look at the backyard. Let's look at the garage. Let's look at whatever they're going to look at. And then you still have to go through, turn off all the lights, close all the blinds, lock the door, put the key back in the lockbox, and then still drive to the next property on time. So give yourself between 30 to 45 minutes between showings. And if they're in the same neighborhood, that's even better, right? But just make sure you keep that in mind, that you're going to show them, you have to turn on all the lights and show them the property and all that stuff, lock back up, and then drive to the next property.
Just out of curiosity, do you usually give them a drop or ride, or just?
No, I have them meet me there. There was a time where agents would drive them around, but now you just meet them there. Yeah, they follow you. And then let's see. Make sure you adhere to the showing instructions. So within every listing in the MLS, there should be showing instructions. They're all going to be different. Some are going to say, go direct. There's a lockbox there. The property is vacant. Just show the property. So when you open the lockbox, it lets the listing agent know that you open the lockbox, right? Because when you open it with your key, e-key, it tells them who you are, what company you're with, what time you open the property.
Yeah.
So then they're okay with it. Then you're going to see instructions that showing instructions that say schedule using showing time. Showing time is an app that's you can click on when you're on the MLS listing. You see the available times on the calendar. You select one, and then the agent approves it, and then that's how you know you can show the property. Another one might be text agent, listing agent with desired time and date, and wait for approval. And then text them, and they're like, okay, good. Right? Or they'll say, text a copy of your business card and desired time and date. So make sure if you do not adhere to that, there are fines associated with that if they were to report you. So let's see, any questions here? Okay. Make sure that you've installed and subscribed to the Super eKey on your phone, eKey app, to make sure you can open lockboxes. And again, before going out, I would practice opening lockboxes so that way you don't. I love to just. This is a thing, and every time I say it, someone ends up telling me, "Oh my God, you're right," because I was trying to open a lockbox with in front of a client, and it wouldn't open. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah, it took a while for me to open it.
Did you?
The first time.
Yeah. So even if you show up a little bit early to the first showing, maybe you show up early and then you open the lockbox before or just in case you have troubles before your client arrives. So then you're going to show the selected properties. Give the buyer a customer report. So there's different displays or reports that you print out from the MLS. One of them is a customer report or a customer flyer. And if you print that out, it doesn't have the listing agent's contact information. It has all the information about the listing and then your contact information at the bottom. And give them a pen. That way they can write notes on what they liked about the property, what they didn't like about the property, and they have a printout for each property as you're showing them. Another thing is please exercise safety when showing properties. Do not show vacant homes at nighttime. If you're by yourself, if you're a smaller person, always keep the door open with showing property. Maybe you can carry pepper spray or take a friend or something with you. This used to be an issue back in the day where even with open houses or showings, that there would be people that target female realtors and then try to rob them or take advantage of them. So just be safe. Now the offer. After you've shown properties, your client loves one of them. Hey, let's submit an offer. Here's what's going to happen. Tell the clients prior to make an offer, you're going to provide them necessary research identifying the estimated value of the subject property. So to better serve your client, this is what you're going to do. You're going to search the MLS for comps. You're going to present your findings. You're going to make an informed recommendation. Let's go back. And the reason I'm saying this is because typically the client's going to say, what do you think I should offer? How much should you think I should offer? You can't just say, I think you should offer this much. I would say, well, let me do the research and then we'll talk about it. You're going to do the research and find out, hey, these are the recent sales. This is what they sold for. So this is a good price to offer. Maybe offer 5,000 more than that, 10,000 if you really, whatever, if you really want the house, or if there's, that there are multiple offers already, and maybe the agent told you, hey, there's already, 20,000 above asking. You let the buyer know, hey, this is what they recently sold for. The agent says they have an offer at 20,000 above asking. What do you want to do? So now you're presenting the information, letting them make the decision, right? Then you're going to write up and submit the offer. So obtain a property profile from the title company so you can get it from Lawyer's Title. And the property profile shows you who the owners of the property are. Have the MLS printout of the listing ready for reference. So you're going to need this because when you're writing up an offer, you can either use MLS Connect, which automatically auto-populates some of the information of the property and the agent into zip forms, into the contract. But if you don't do that, you should have a printout anyway because it tells you who the listing agent is, who the brokerage is, what the property address is, the AP number, because these are all things you're going to need for the offer, for the RPA. And it's good to have it handy so you're not like looking back and forth between screens. So then you're going to write up the offer. You're gonna have the buyer sign the offer in person or digitally. You're gonna sign it yourself. And you're gonna send an email to the listing agent with the following subject line: offer for 123 Main Street, or offer for 14 Begonia, or whatever it is. And then you're gonna attach the below documents, the RPA, so the purchase agreement, the pre-approval and proof of funds. You do not need to send the BRBC. That's an agreement between you and the buyer. Eventually, you'll have to send a copy of that to escrow, but you do not send that to the listing side. So, yeah, what are you submitting to the with the offer? Don't look over there.
So proof of funds for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't need to send them BRPC, and proof of funds and pre-approval letter and
Yes.
offer, I mean, RPA.
yes, perfect. See, easy, right? And you already have those first two things, because at the beginning, when you had them sign the BRBC, you got the pre-approval and the proof of funds. So that's already there. And all you needed was to write up the offer and get signatures. And let the buyer know that there might be counter offers, and be ready to discuss with them, what type of counter offers or addendums might come up. Uh, let's see, and then after everybody signs it, you have to have a copy of a fully executed RPA along with counter offers or addendums, things like that. Now the acceptance, you send in your offer, you have counter offers, it's finally accepted. Now what happens? Call your buyer to congratulate them. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, congratulations, your offer's been accepted. They opened escrow today. Notify the loan officer that the offer was accepted and provide him with a copy of the purchase contract and any addendums or counter offers. So that's important. And then escrow will reach out to you as a buyer's agent and ask you for your buyer's contact information. They're going to send out wire instructions to your buyer. They have to have their earnest money deposit in within 3 business days after acceptance.
Acceptance is the day zero, right? Not day one. So
Delivery.
yeah.
Instruct the buyer to call escrow to confirm the wire instructions to prevent fraud. So let your buyer know, hey, escrow's gonna they're gonna send you an email with wire instructions on where to send your EMD, okay, your earnest money deposit. When you receive that email, call escrow and confirm, hey, did you send this email? Yes. Can you confirm the numbers? This is what I got. Yes, this is the number. Because this is where people lose money.
Mm.
There's fraudsters and robbers out there that end up somehow inserting themselves within the emails, and they're tracking things, and they'll send an email that makes it look like they're the escrow company.
Mm.
Everything looks almost exactly the same, and they send wire instructions, but except the wires, the account that they're sending to is not the escrow company.
Mm.
It's somebody else. And then once it's wired, you can't get that back.
Yeah, that's good.
It'll be very difficult to get that back. And then they just lost all that money. So make sure, and it's scary. And this is why you have to make sure to let them know, reach out to escrow to confirm that. Escrow's gonna want full names of all buyers. Initials are not enough. It has to be full. If it's like Carlos S. Rodriguez, they want Carlos. I don't have a middle name, but like if I had an S, if it's like, I don't know what's a middle name what's a name with the letter S?
As Sean.
Sean. If it was Carlos Sean Rodriguez,
Yeah.
then it's not just Carlos S. It's Carlos Sean Rodriguez, right? So, and their contact information, marital status, if they're single or married, how the buyers want to take title. These are all things that escrow's going to ask them. They can ask them for the lender contact information. Let's see. These are things the escrow holder does, and also things they do not do. I'm not going to go through this whole list, but they act as a neutral third party. And just to summarize some of the stuff is they don't negotiate. So if the seller let's say the buyer calls the escrow and says, hey, can you tell the seller that I want them to reduce the price? Escrow doesn't do that. Or, hey, this buyer calls and says, hey, I want the sellers to pay for this. Can you tell them? Escrow doesn't do that. All the communications go through the agents. So if you want to communicate something to the seller, you're going to go through your agent to their agent to the seller. and it's gonna be all in writing. Right, so, and then once everybody approves or agrees to it, they're all gonna sign. And then you're gonna give a copy of that to escrow. So yeah, so what escrow holder does not do is they don't offer legal advice. So make sure that you tell your clients that escrow is just a neutral third party. Don't ask them for advice or to relay information. They don't negotiate the transaction. They don't offer investment advice, and they do not notify the loan officer that the buyer's an escrow. That's why we do that. We'll reach out to them. Let's see. What happened there? It's not going. All right, we'll go here. So during the contingency period, let's go. Yeah. So now that you're in escrow, your offer's been accepted. You're gonna order any inspections and that the buyer agreed to. Well, the buyer's gonna do. So typically it's a physical inspection. So as soon as you go in escrow, I would let the buyer know, hey, these are a couple of different inspection companies. This is what they charge. Which one would you like to use? Sometimes they don't want an inspection, so then you're gonna have them sign a buyer inspection waiver. And then during this period, the listing side, if they agree to pay for a termite inspection, that's when they're gonna order it. But as far as the buy side, we don't order that. They order that. And then you would order the home warranty if you agreed to a credit for home warranty within the offer. You would order the home warranty. There's going to be a certain amount, a dollar amount that they're going to credit you towards a home warranty, whatever number you enter, and hopefully they agree to it. And then you can contact the home warranty company and then see what you can get for that price, what kind of coverage. And then you can order NHD, which escrow typically orders the NHD report, negotiate and request repairs for the property. So after you do your inspection within this contingency period, maybe in the inspection shows that there are some things that need to be repaired that are, safety issues, things like that, or maybe, I don't know, something that Spire wants fixed before they move in. Then you send in a request for repairs.
Mhm.
And just because you give a request for repairs, it doesn't mean that the seller has to agree to do it. So here's what can happen. You're going to submit a request for repairs on behalf of your buyer. We would like you to fix these 10 items, or give us a credit of $10,000 towards the repairs, and we'll do it ourselves after we take possession. And then the seller could say, no, I'm not going to do anything. They don't even have to reply. They don't have to answer. Or they could say, no, we're not going to do anything, and then they sign it and send it back. Or they could say, we'll give you $2,000, but not fix anything, and then they sign it, and then the buyer can either say yes or whatever, or no, or do a new request for repairs or whatever, right? Or the seller can say, sure, we'll fix everything for you. If that's the case, there's no credit. It's just they agree to fix everything, and then everything should be fixed 5 days prior to close of escrow, because that's when you do your final walkthrough. So all the repairs should be made by that date, 5 days prior to close of escrow.
Yeah. So two questions there. One is, what if the seller, maybe there's like 10 requests, they did like 5 repairs until the 5 days before receive close of escrow.
Did they agree to do all 10 of them?
Yeah.
In your example?
And then they failed to do 5.
Yeah.
Like the other 5 of them.
Yeah.
And then buyer can ask again, like in the buyer inspection, or
you can ask them what the issue is. Maybe they couldn't schedule something and it's going to be done after, whatever it is, or maybe they can't schedule until after close of escrow, but they're still going to pay for it.
Yeah.
There could be that situation, but you have to ask yourself, are you going to cancel because of those 5 things that they didn't fix? They're minor things. You can always just go to small claims court for that afterwards, but you don't want that to stop the close of escrow. You don't want that to cancel.
To follow up on that, we need to write down that like final inspection sheet, right? And then write it and then send it to the seller.
There's the final walkthrough, yeah. You could say on the final walkthrough that these repairs were not made, and then you sign it, and that they were agreed to, and you send it back and have them sign it, and they're probably going to write something like, these repairs will be made on these dates or whatever. Yeah, that could be the case, or maybe they just don't do them, and then they can find somebody or whatever it is. Maybe they'll give you credit for it. Who knows?
Yeah, gotcha.
You just have to work it out at the time.
The other question is like, hypothetically, if they cannot settle in the conclusion, whatever, if they just like inspection, I don't know, repair for request, request for repair, and the counter is RRR, right?
Yeah.
So if they cannot settle down, then they can just cancel it, buyer can cancel it.
Yeah, they can. If they want to, they can.
Yeah, because it's not, contingency is not removed, right?
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
If no contingencies are removed, the buyer can cancel pretty much for any reason.
Yeah.
Right. If you remove the loan contingency, you can't cancel because of the loan. Otherwise, you lose your deposit.
Mhm.
If you remove your inspection contingency, you can't cancel because of something that within the inspection, because you will lose your deposit.
Yeah.
So if you remove a contingency, just make sure if you cancel, it's not for that reason. It's for some of the other reasons that you didn't remove contingencies for.
Makes sense.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for your experience, so if you are buyer agent, so do you usually recommend, especially you see by your eyes, you see something maybe need to repair or something. Do you recommend them to use the home inspection? Just to say your regular.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that they use a home inspection. They do a home inspection. And if they say no, then that's why we have the buyer inspection waiver that says that you said, hey, I recommend that you do this, but they're saying, I know you recommend it, but I'm gonna waive it. So no inspection. I just want to close. And sometimes you'll get some people that will sign the waiver and they don't even get an inspection, or maybe they get an inspection, but they don't ask for repairs. They just want to know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
Right.
At least for like a get some security for,
Yeah.
and also in case if something they don't know, they didn't disclosure.
Well, here's the thing is that sometimes you have buyers that are either contractors or they have a contractor come with them during when they look at the property and they're, during the contentious period, and they won't even get an inspection. They'll do an inspection waiver. They'll sign saying, we know we don't need an inspection. It's fine. I got my buddy that knows how to do this, or I know how to do this. And they look at the house and they're like, okay, we know what we need pretty much. So we don't need an inspection. And then, they're contractors, so they know they're going to fix certain things and they're just going to buy it, right? They're getting a good deal, whatever it is. So you're going to have situations like that. Or maybe they're going to do the inspection waiver for termites and for the physical inspection because they want their offer to look better. So if you have an offer that is going to do inspections,
right,
and they're asking for termite inspection, but then you have another offer that's waiving all that stuff, but everything else is the same, you might want to do the one with the waiver, saying it's less it could be less problems. It just makes it look better. So different reasons, right? And then make sure that during the final walkthrough, you confirm that the agreed upon repairs are completed. And then again, here's the transaction timeline. Like going through this with you guys, we've gone through it like numerous times. But this shows you the life of an escrow, based on a 30-day escrow, and based on the default contingency periods on the contract, and who needs to do what by what days. So we'll just kind of skim through this really quick. So on the buyer side, within the first 3 days, the buyer needs to have proof of their pre-approval letter, which you've already submitted, proof of down payment, which you've already submitted, proof of funds, buyer deposit, the money into escrow for their earnest money deposit, within 3 days after acceptance, 3 business days. Keep that in mind. Buyer seller evidence to act. So if the buyer is buying as an entity, they have to provide proof that they can purchase on behalf of that entity or sign on behalf of the entity. And then hopefully within those first few days, you've already ordered the inspection. Let's see. The buyer should be shopping for homeowners insurance. Let's see, what else here? And then if the buyer's going to do the termite inspection, the buyer should be doing the termite inspection. Otherwise, the seller should order that within that time. And then they should have sent out HOA docs, but the seller ends up ordering those through escrow. Let's see. And then, so within that time frame, you do your inspection, you get the inspection back, and then hopefully within that time, I think the first 7 days, it says here that the seller should already send over the seller's disclosures. So buyer's going to review those. You're going to review them with the buyer. If they have any questions, have them sign them. Then you're going to return a signed copy back to the sellers. And this is this is all within the first 17 days, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you ordered the inspection on the second day of escrow or first day of escrow. And then they did the inspection on day 4, let's say day 5 of escrow. That's the only day they had available. And then you get the report back either on day 6 or 7. And then you discuss it with your client, let's say on day 7. And now they say, okay, we want them to fix this. You write up your request for repairs. On day 8, you send that. And then hopefully you're negotiating. And then the sellers agree to it. Let's say by day 10 or 11, you guys go back and forth. Then you're like, okay, we're good. You contact the loan officer. Hey, how are we doing with the appraisal? Did you order it yet? Yes. Okay, cool, good. Everything's good. And you've already signed and returned all the seller's disclosures. And you get to day 17. They've already done the appraisal, the property appraised. They've already the loan officer said, hey, we're good to go with the loan. You can remove contingencies. HOA docs, the buyers already reviewed the HOA docs. If there are HOAs, they've already reviewed the preliminary title report. They already found homeowners insurance. All these things are done. You can remove your contingencies on day 17. And what does that mean? That means that after you remove all those contingencies, your buyer cannot cancel.
Mm.
If they do, they could lose their earnest money deposit. But keep in mind that throughout this whole time, the seller cannot cancel for any reason. The only way the seller can cancel is if on day 15, they send the buyer a notice, notice to perform, you got it. Notice to perform to remove all contingencies. So 2 days before the actual date it's due, right? 17 days. So set it on day 15, that gives them 2 days to perform, day 16 and 17. And if they do not remove contingencies on day 17, the seller can cancel unilaterally on day 18. That's their only way out. But the buyer can cancel anytime until they remove the contingencies. And there's times where the buyer does not remove contingencies on day 17. Maybe the lender says, hey, we're not fully approved yet. Give me a few more days. We have to do something with the numbers. Day 18, 19, 20, you're like, hey, what's going on? We're still not ready. Give us a couple more days. If the seller doesn't send you a notice to perform, you're safe. Right? But if they do send you a notice to perform, that means you have 2 more days to remove contingencies. Otherwise, they can cancel. And they won't keep your deposit at that point because you haven't removed the contingency. So then there's going to be days within these 30 days where you're not going to have anything to do with the transaction. It's going to be quiet and you're going to worry what's going on. I hope it doesn't cancel. Are the sellers like, do they find another buyer? Or the buyers do they want to cancel? Do they find another house? So you're going to be thinking all these things, right?
Just to clarify, so the buyer hasn't removed all these contingencies yet before the 17. And listing agents sent this notice to perform 2 days before 17 days. And the seller is not the patient and they want to cancel after day 17 or 18 for whatever reason. Although the buyer's agents like communicate, oh, we're asking for the loan officer to approve us.
Yes.
But it's taking some time.
Yeah.
And in that case, earnest money will go back to buyer or seller can take it.
No, if they remove contingencies, they can't keep it.
So
it'll go back to the
they
buyer.
haven't removed the contingency.
Right.
So buyers still can take the earnest money.
Yes, they can take it.
Although seller cancel.
Seller's going to cancel, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
So and then the next thing you're going to have to do is pretty much hopefully they order the repairs and they're either doing the repairs or they're going to give you credit. But then you're going to do your final walkthrough 5 days prior to closing and make sure that the property's in the condition that was agreed to, or that all the repairs were made that were agreed to. And then you're going to close on day 30. So it's pretty much the life of a transaction based on 30 days and the default language or timelines on the purchase contract. You guys have any questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
For example, if before that, you as a buyer agent and
The buyer or the buyer's agent?
buyer agent,
okay.
and then the buyer, he has some dependent to approve his loan. And then maybe the lender say you need to wait for couple weeks.
Yeah.
And in that time, but of course it is how to say, let us say this is a VA loan buyer. So that means the seller, it's not, the house is not too popular when they choose a VA loan buyer, right?
Okay.
Used to like
Okay.
that. So that means that this is also is not too much buyer want to buy. So
Or maybe it's a veteran that wants another veteran to own it. There could be many reasons why they accept the VA loan. Maybe they offered more money. I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, it's a typical, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and then as a buyer agent.
Yeah.
So this moment, how we can, how to say, communicate with all of them to, of course, we want to try they close this deal.
Yeah.
But we also should honest to.
Oh yeah. You want to
make
communicate with the
yeah.
listing side and say, hey, just want to let you know that the lender says we need a few more days. So be patient, give us a few more days. Yeah.
Do we, it is okay, could we say, how to say, ask the lender or mortgage office to give something a little bit positive information to the seller agent and or to seller to know.
No, because you're already communicating that to them. Because they know that you guys want to complete the purchase, right? They want the house and they know the seller wants to sell the house and you're already so many days into it. They're probably not gonna want to go back on the market and then start reviewing offers, hold open houses, do all that stuff again, and then go into another acceptance of the contract and then start from day zero again for another 30 days. So a lot of the times they're gonna be patient. It's, that's fine. We'll give you a few more days. Because you're already there. You're already deep into it. So, and then you might have some that just want to cancel. But for the most part, I think people have been patient and said, yeah, you can have a few more days. That's fine.
I actually have 3 questions. Adding on to what Dandan asked. So is it typically, from seller's point of view, like among conventional loans, I mean, all cash for sure, most preferred. Conventional FHA and VA, they would prefer conventional loan over FHA and VA.
Yeah, because you're risking more money. Sometimes you're leaving 20% down, 40% down. Versus FHA is what?
Like
Is it
3.5%?
3.5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
VA like almost 0, right?
Yeah, 0.
I mean, okay, risking meaning, but after the close of escrow, seller, no matter what, they will, they'd be 100% cash, because
Yeah, but here's the thing: is that if the more down payment you have, the more likely it is that the loan's going to be fine. Right? Because the bank says, okay, they have all this money, so it should go smoother. It should go smoother, right? So that means that the buyer has more money to risk, right? And the lender knows that. So theoretically, it should go smoother.
So they do basically like a risk averse decision, like less uncertainty.
Yeah, but then ultimately, like you said, it doesn't matter. The seller's going to get the money. They're going to in their account, whether it's 5% down or 20% down, whatever it is. So then you're going to look at the terms.
Yeah.
And what are the terms? Did they remove contingencies right away? Are they reducing the contingency period? Are they, whatever it is, right? You have to look at the terms.
Yeah.
So whatever looks more favorable or more attractive or more easier to handle. Maybe it's a 2-week escrow, right? And it's all cash, or versus something that's not all cash, or the cash offer offers you 20,000 below asking, but the conventional loan offers you above asking price. Some people think, oh, mine's cash, they're gonna accept it. There's other things, man. If you're offering below asking cash, but someone's offering more money and they have a loan, I'm gonna go with more money because, and then everything else is the same.
Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna ask that question. So, hypothetically, like say a property valued at $1 million, and there are 2 offers. One is like 20% down payment, and conventional loan. The other is like all cash.
Yeah.
Let's say they offer at like 900,000. Like they typically.
It's gonna be up to the seller, right? If they want 900 and it's cash and it's 2 weeks, and hey, you want to leave to New York right away, and you can get your cash, you can do that. Or we can do a 30-day escrow
Yeah.
with this other person, they're giving you $100,000 more, or
Yeah,
Um,
basically, yeah, 100%.
yeah,
But then
Or-
if they're somebody's not in a rush, they would take 20% down.
yeah, of
More.
course.
Makes sense. Yeah, right.
But here's the thing is that sometimes buyers think that, oh, I have cash,
Yeah.
I'm God. You
You
have to accept my offer. My offer is the best offer. It's like, you gotta kind of bring them down a little bit. Hey, it's about what you offer and what
Yeah.
the terms are and all that. Another thing too, I failed to mention is make sure when you're in escrow, tell your buyers, don't go out and buy a new car.
All
Don't go
right.
out and get any new credit cards or get finance. That is not gonna help them at all with their loan.
Right, right.
So let them do that after the fact. Even if their car breaks down in the middle of escrow, rent a car or something. Don't go out and buy a new car.
Yeah.
Right? Wait until after. Yeah. So
I had another
Hey,
question.
Carlos,
yes.
just to add to that, make sure your buyer's ex-wife doesn't have access to the credit card, which is what happened in my case.
I think that goes without saying. Yeah.
So I had a question regarding the communication, how to communicate, between the agents,
Yeah.
listing and buyer side. So before you send the official email, they usually communicate like casually through the phone call or text before you send something in writing.
Well, it depends on how the agent is responding. Do they respond to text? They not replying? Do they only take calls? Like some agents don't even answer the phones.
Mhm.
So you can either text them or email them, but
Yeah.
it's just communication,
Yeah.
And then if there's anything that that the buyer side are going to agree to that you guys put on text or email, you're going to have to do an addendum where they're all going to have to sign it. Don't just rely on, oh, you sent an email that the seller agreed to this. Like, no, you had to put it in an addendum and get it signed.
Mm,
Yeah, by both parties, and then you're gonna have to send a copy of that to escrow.
got it.
So, yeah. Any questions? Any other questions? No? Okay. Anthony, any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, we'll just end it there then. We'll see you guys next week. Maybe. Next week's the holiday, so we'll have to take a look at that. But anyways, you'll get an email regardless.
Okay.
Next Thursday?
Thanks, Carlos.
Next Monday, it's a holiday week, like it's a shorter week.
Got it.
Yeah. Anyways, see you guys later.